Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming back to the Citrine Path. Today, again, we have myself, Amber, and my amazing co-host.
And I'm Patsy from Violet Elements. Before we get started here, we just want to share real quick that this is our journeys and our guest journey on their spiritual life and their herbal life. So, everything we talk about here, we do recommend you do your own research and definitely talk to your provider before you start any herbal remedies or home remedies.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Citrine Path. So, I don't know if you guys can hear, but I got a little bit of a head cold going on. So, just bear with me if I sound a little sniffly today. But I'm super excited. We're going to be talking about numerology and kind of the significance of it and how you can kind of use it um, to get a deeper understanding of your life and events in your everyday life. So, do you use numerology very often, Mom?
A little bit, just because the kind of like theory and idea of it crosses over into other things. So, like astrology, that is a type of it because you're using birth date numbers and time of day of birth to determine things. And so that's one thing that I kind of use it for. Um, and of course, sometimes when you see it, um, so yeah, so like in tarot cards, when you see different numbers land together, they mean different things. So like one of the ones that I always remember is like 9, 10, do it again. Um, I don't pay that much attention to like the angel numbers, but I would say more so that's also another way that I kind of like acknowledge it or play around with it. So that's what I did most of my research on was the angel numbers. But it was really interesting because it's almost like not any set rules. Because, like, I looked at a couple different websites and talked to a couple different people, and, like, they all kinda had their own spin on what they thought the numbers meant. Um, so I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I always wonder if it's like how people get this information or like how they determine what numbers mean what. Like if it's from them talking to their spirit guides or like their spirit team or like passed down through other people that they know. But I mean, numbers can mean different things for everybody. So, like I've always heard like 1111 make a wish my whole life. That's always been something that people have said around me. So, whenever like I see 1111, it always tells me like I'm either on the right path of getting what I want or um whatever I'm saying they're listening and it's like maybe going to come to fruition if I continue on how I'm going. So, I don't know. Let me see. Trying to find my angel numbers in my big old ridiculous book here.
Did I take better notes than you this time?
Well, I have them written in here. Because I've been
Oh, you
working.
have the angel numbers, like, written out?
Yeah, but I just don't remember where I wrote them. Is the-
Well, so let me ask you,
What?
do you use numerology and stuff on your like, how do you use it? Because you asked me that question, so let me flip it to
Yeah.
you.
So, well, let me look and hang on. I got too many books over here. Let me look in this book, and I'll kind of give you an example. So, yes, I love numerology. I don't work with it as much as I would like to, but I need to start doing it more often. So, I wrote this little blurb when we found out that we were pregnant with little Miss Citrine. So, when we found out we were pregnant with her, it was kind of a big ordeal because her dad actually had just gone out of the hospital with a very, very life threatening situation. And it was kind of a miracle he survived in the first place. So then, after he got out of the hospital, it was like a couple of days, and we found out we were pregnant with our daughter. So we truly believe that the reason he's alive and here is the fact to be here for his family. So, this in my little notebook I wrote, it says that we found out that we were pregnant with her at 12:22 on January 12th of 2019. So to me, it says like number two is very significant in that date and time. So, and the number two means the bringing of things together. So to me, I thought it was interesting because having a repeating two so many times in one date and time, um, and bringing together, Willow was literally bringing two families together, bringing together hope and like lovingness between. She was bringing two families together and bringing hope for the future together also. So you can kind of take events like that in your life and you can break them down by numerology and figure out the significance based off of things like that.
That's really cool. Sorry, the dogs were barking, so I was trying to get them to wait till they stopped before I
Fine.
unmuted myself. Yeah, that's yeah, little Miss Willowbean. Yeah, that's crazy. And it's funny because you're pretty. I mean, I'm sure you know because you looked it up and you use it a little bit more regularly. But um, the number one, which so let me go back a little bit. So I didn't quite realize that angel numbers are literally just 1 through 9. And
Some people use zero also.
well, yes, but that's true. But I found that it was more left off than on there. Um, but me and my definitions. So I looked up the definition of what an angel number was. So they are numbers that repeat numerologically science sequence. Good gracious. Numeric sequences are often taken as a sign of confirmation or directional. They range from 000 to 999. In numerology, their patterns always come in sets of three, and the more repetitive of the number, the better, or like the stronger it is. So if there's three of the numbers, you're basically times it by three. Um, it is more confirmed when you see the number three times. So whatever number is repeating itself um, in whatever pattern it is, if you see it three times, that's like your confirmation. So like you'll hear people talk that they see the same number over and over and over and over again. I'm probably gonna mispronounce this word. So okay, so what is numerology in general? It's an ancient esoteric science that deals with numbers and letters, the energy, intention, and vibration behind the numbers. So I took that as like how color and different materials have vibration and like the megahertz and stuff like that can be assigned to them. So I didn't go find anything like confirming that theory of like where my mind went with that. Um, but when I read that, that kind of made me think of like, I wonder if that's how they assigned the value that way was by like the vibration that they can determine from that number. And I wonder if that's why they use one and zero for computer programming and, that whole thing. Um, but there's different what they call schools, which are like types. and they all have really big, weird names. So I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce them. But so there's different schools of numerology, and they play different theories and have different rules that go to each school. Um, but two of the examples that they did that used like a couple of the main schools was your astrological signs. That was one. And I'm going to pronounce his name wrong. Endiograms. Anyway, so that one is the part that it assigns personality types and traits determining on what number you are, rated from 1 to 9. And so there's like a bunch of different types of personality tests that you can take, and it will um, like tell you. So I attempted to take one so then I could like share what mine was. But I would take the test, and at the end of it, it would say, "Hey, get your results, pay this, blah blah blah." So I didn't actually do it because I didn't want to pay for it. But most of the tests that I've seen has like yes or no, maybe or true false type um, questions, and there was 45 questions on average, and you had a set amount of time to answer. So it was kind of like rapid fire, quick answer questions. Um, and then from there, it would deter uh, the enforcer, the helper, the individual, which I'm sure that there's like definitions that go with either of these, the investigator, the loyalist, the I'm not sure what that word is, ethicalness. We'll post a picture of it. And the challenger and the peacemaker. So I'm gonna assume by looking at these, most likely I probably fall in the range of like the peacemaker or the helper. Um, but yeah, so I thought that was kind of interesting. I had never really seen much of that or heard much of that, but
That is super interesting. That's really cool.
yeah, they have a
I
bunch of
didn't know
like
that they did tests
cool
like
little
that either.
color charts. Yeah, like I've done the personality test where, it's like the disc and you like pick words that are off there. And if you have so many that's in this category, you're like an introvert, more direct, number bait, like that kind of ones. But I had never heard of this one before.
Yeah, so I found my page here now. Um,
Oh, sweet.
yeah, see, and my little thing is that it says these numbers can give you insight, messages, and guidance from your spiritual world. Wow, that was a banger. I wrote a lot about it. Um, but yeah, so I have everything written down from 000 all the way to 999. Well, and I think it's okay, hang on. I gotta make a little blurb about this. So most people think like 666 is like bad because it's associated with like, you know, the darker side of the world. But 666 is actually, if you look at it in the numerology terms and like your spiritual angel numbers terms, it's actually a pretty positive number. Um, it says that it is supportive, compassionate, and empathetic in nature. It can be a reminder to treat yourself with kindness and empathy. Remember, everything happens for a reason. So I know like a lot of people think that if they see that number, there's like a negative entity or something like that attached to them. But I mean, that doesn't have to be the case. Like, I'm a firm believer in always smudging yourself. And if you have a question, smudge yourself again. But I just think that's interesting that most people have this like negative idea of what that number means, and honestly, it's the complete opposite.
Yeah. So, like, when and it's weird because, like I was saying before, when I went through, there was, like, so many different, like, things that I found, like, similarly in common with them. Um, so I found 666 in my definition of what I had saw it what most people refer to it as focus. Um, so, like, refocus, pay attention, but a lot of what you said kinda could fall into that same thing, like, just being more self-aware,
Yeah, that's cool.
but I I did find something so, like, most, of the numbers that kept popping up, which in general, when I was, like, looking at different things, was 1 and 9, but, like, 1 is, like, you're on the right path, but more so, like, generalize your intuition. So, like, if you see the number 1, like, it's because everybody's like, um, whenever you see it, they're like, "Oh, yeah, my" I don't know. I just have a couple friends that always post it and just, like, their interpretation of it was different than what I thought the number meant, just because they would say when they posted it I mean, nothing bad or negative, and everybody I we've talked about this before. Like, I don't have to believe the same thing as somebody else with the same numbers, but to use them and get the same intention. But, um, I just thought it was funny. So, like, the number 19 doesn't necessarily mean 19. It could be 1 and 9 or 1 plus 9. Like, there's different ways to look at it. Um, so then I started looking up a bunch of different variations of numbers that included 1 and 9. So, like, 19, um, brighter future, set ahead. So, like and I just wrote cliff notes on what they were, but because, like, number 1 means you're on the right path, number 9, turn a negative into a positive, or it's like the end of a cycle or, something's coming to an end. So then, like but then the number 19 itself is take an active role in shaping your own destiny, and that do it with confidence that you will soon reach a climax of this chapter. So again, like you're coming to the end. But then like 119 means that there's obstacles in your way. You have to power through them, overcome them. But then the number 119 has to do with leadership, um, doubled with being present of the one. So like be present of like what's coming. But it could also mean take the bulls by the horn. Like don't sit back and wait things come to you. But then like 991, so 991 is a karmatic number. It means like an abundance of energy.
That's super interesting. Like I never thought that there would be so many different ways to look at one number like that. And it's really interesting that they all mean like
Yeah, and
so I think it's really
yeah, and
interesting.
it
They
doesn't
all mean
necessarily have to be like 111 222.
I think our internet's being slow because I think we're like off.
I think we're glitching out. We
Yeah,
keep talking over each other.
yeah. Okay. Well,
Okay,
so
sounds good.
well, and I think it's interesting because um like with like reading tarot cards, for example, like everybody thinks of the cards a little bit differently and what it means to them. So, I mean, like you're just talking about, you have people that will like post and it will their interpretation of it will be a little bit different than yours. I think the main important thing is like realizing you're getting messages from your spirit guides. You know, if it's something that you're not really looking for and you're still noticing it, then I think they're like definitely trying to tell you something. But I am a huge, huge believer that we have a team behind us that we don't see, but they're there trying to guide us along the way of what we're supposed to do in our life. And I'm a huge believer that we have specific things that we were born and brought here to do. So, like, if you're not seeing these messages and you would like to, I would just, it might feel weird at first if you've never done anything like this, but I mean, just sit and meditate and just like, you could say it out loud. You could say it in your head. Like, just say, hey, spirit guides, God, whoever you believe that there is listening, just say, hey, I would like to receive messages. If you guys can start showing me numbers, then you'll start seeing them. Like, I'll see angel numbers when I'm scrolling through Facebook, the amount of liked posts. Like, if you see the post and the number, of likes on that post, I see them all the time there. I see them all the time in I'm watching a YouTube video, the duration of the YouTube video. I'll see it on the radio station. They'll talk about a phone number and there'll be, 222 in a phone number. Um, Random things like that. And you'll start noticing them and you'll start seeing them. And for me, at least, whenever I see them, I will say out loud in the open, thank you, thank you, thank you. I notice what you're trying to show me. I appreciate it. Thank you. Because, I mean, if in my theory, they're just like every other people. If they don't think what they're doing is being noticed, they're going to stop, which I don't blame them. If I do something over and over again and I don't get appreciated for it, I stop it too. So, I just make sure I tell them thank you, make sure I tell them I notice it, I see it. If you can't remember all the numbers, which there's a lot of different numbers for you to memorize, make a note in your phone or like, just take a screenshot of your phone and circle it with your finger so you remember what it was and you can go back and look at it later. And I always love to write stuff down so that, I can understand my thought process in that moment. I can understand what was happening in my life. I can kind of look back and remember, what it was. And maybe even in the future, you'll have better insight to what you have now. Um, but I think it's super cool. Like these little notebooks, like this one is specifically just for my spiritual experiences, my growth, my track that I have in my life. And I've had it since I was in, oh gosh, see, my freshman year in high school. So I have tarot card readings of my friends in high school in here and my family. And like, it's cool to be able to look back and look at the readings that I've done and like the interpretations I've had. Um, and then I can kind of grow from that also. So I definitely think everybody should get a book if you're going to be really looking into the spiritualness around you and look at it that way. But welcome to my TED Talk. My name is Amber. I'm just kidding.
You're so funny.
I know.
Oh. But yeah, like the same thing. Like me and you, we're paper people. Like, yeah. So like I have the paper journal. I have a book that's just dedicated to my research and stuff on um our podcast. And sometimes when we're talking and saying things, like it'll say something that reminds me of something or whatever. So I'll like take notes too, like as we're going. Um, but yeah, like I think that's super important. Like everything that you said, like everybody's gonna be different. Everybody's experience is going to be different. Like for some reason, I love the numbers that have to do with three. So three, six, and nine. Um, when I was in high school, I found a cue ball that was orange, which I like all the like bright citrus colors and stuff. Um, that was a number three, and it was a solid. And most of the time, they're not that color. And I don't know what happened to it, but I hung on to it forever. Um, so stuff like that, like I like those numbers, but somebody else might have a tragic story that goes with number three. So number three might have a different meaning to them. Um, but it's funny because, like, if you look up, it's number three means support, but it also is embrace, creativity, and growth. So, like, that makes sense to me because I always like to make things and all of that fun stuff. Um, Gosh darn it, I was going somewhere with this. It's gone.
Right. Train has left the station.
Oh. Oh, so it came back. I got it. So it's just like, like, when you get a new car, like, you don't see anybody with a blue car, but then once you get a blue car, everybody drives blue cars, like, you notice them more. So it's the same thing, like, once you acknowledge, like, seeing the numbers or paying attention to them, you'll notice them a lot more. So, like, with Dwayne, like, our whole family sees 69 all over the place, and my phone, I don't even use stinking Snapchat, but yet, like, every couple of days, sometimes, like, 4 or 5 times in one day, Snapchat will send me a thing, and it says, "Remember this date?" And it says December 24th, which is, like, funny because there's nothing on my Snapchat in that day. I have nothing saved there, but it pops up all the time. Let me see if I can pull it up. But the only thing that I have saved in my phone, freaking Snapchat, um, this is how much I don't use Snapchat. I don't even know if I can get to it. Um, Goodness gracious. Anyway, we had taken a bunch of silly pictures and we were doing like the ones when I don't know how well this is gonna pull up, but um of us being the opposite sex, when they like come up. Oh, it's not gonna show up. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, we could see it.
Oh, there you go. There's all doing that stupid picture.
Oh my gosh, the picture of grandma's freaking hilarious.
And of course, I look just like the only thing I have saved in my Snapchat. And it's from May. It's not even in December. But that's what my Snapchat always says. Remember? And it pops up on the thing and it says December 24th. And then when I go into my Snapchat, that's what it takes me to. So like stuff like that.
Well, I think that's a whole other different
It
creepiness, but
all
yeah,
it
that's still cool.
all rolls into one creepiness.
I say creepiness, but in all, like,
Goodness.
I think it's
Well,
really
that's
cool.
something maybe we could talk about. Uh,
We're doing it again.
I know. Oh, go ahead, babe.
Okay. No, I think it would be really cool for us to talk about like a different time. I so my both of us, we are extremely fascinated by the paranormal and stuff like that. Like we used to binge watch Ghost Adventures all the time together. But yeah, I think that'd be super cool for us to talk about in the future. Like I see 69 numbers and stuff everywhere also. I always take a picture of him and just know, just a little message to say he's still there. But I mean, there's so many cool things about all of that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. But we got a little less than 4 minutes left. So do you have any last thoughts or finish the thought process I kept cutting you off of?
I just had an idea of what we could do next time, but Drain left the station. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, hopefully it will come back at some time where we're not going to remember it.
Yeah, what were we?
We were talking about,
Oh, yeah, yeah. I had to play back my conversation in my head. Um, I was thinking of like because you had talked about like our spirit guides and stuff, and that kind of goes along with what you were kind of talking about. That we have really strong beliefs that we have a team that is there to like not change things, but help us, give us answers, and just let us know that we're not alone per se. But it doesn't necessarily um like I think that goes across like all religions. Just different people name it different things. Some people call them like guardian angels. Um, we usually refer to them like as our ancestors. Some people call them spirit guides. But that would be kind of cool to look into like the history of that and how, if people are interested, I guess, how to call upon them and address them and find out who is there.
yeah, no, I think that'd be super cool. And I mean, I would love to figure out who's all on my team also. Like, I have never really tried to figure out who's there. I just appreciate whoever's listening to me. Um, but I think that would be super interesting. And I think it would be cool to like look at our shit boxes too early in the morning. I think it'd be really interesting to look at like, some of our year rock beliefs and see, what they thought and to see if like they thought our ancestors stick around with us or if they, move on to the other side or what happens there. Um, but yeah, we are almost out of time. So if you guys want us to talk about spirit guides more, let us know down below. Or if you have any other ideas or topics you want us to cover and hear our input on, um, definitely let us know. But until then, we will see you all next week. And I just want to say thank you so much for joining us and dealing with my stuffy nose. Anything you want to say on the way out, Mom?
No, I think I'm good. Yeah, I think I'm really good. But yeah, like definitely let us know because we love finding things and learning about new things. And um, there's a way that you could comment on the video and give us input and say stuff. And maybe one of these times we'll do a live one. That might be kind of fun. And we can interact and stuff too.
I don't know if anybody wants to be awake to be on a live at 4 o'clock in the morning, though, Mom. So we'll have to do that on a different day.
That's true.
But no, I think that's a great idea. We'll have to plan it for like a Saturday.
Yeah, we could make a cup of tea and hang out.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Okay,
All right. Well, until next time.
bye. Remember, we do not treat, cure, or diagnose any illness. So if you have any questions about anything we talked about today, please reach out to your provider.
So we are always so honored and blessed that you spent your time with us. And we can't wait to visit with you next time. So please come back and visit us. But until then, go forth with love and intention.